What's up, guys? My name's Neil McDevitt, and this is my first episode of Teenage Bodybuilding Tips. Originally, I was gonna start this episode after my first teenage bodybuilding competition, but for this subject, I feel like I meet the requirements pretty much, or am good enough or know enough about this subject to give you guys information right now. So what we're going to be going over is how to build a V-taper. If you don't know what a V-taper is, that's like when bodybuilders have a small waist and broad shoulders and it creates like a V shape from their waist to their shoulders, obviously. But in bodybuilding, this is like a really sought after look. In fitness, it creates the illusion of being wider and just overall aesthetics. Okay, so now we will be going over what muscles you need to build to create this V-taper look. And so basically, there's about 3 different muscle groups that create like the shape of your shoulders slimming down to your waist. And that would be, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, that would be delts, lats, and if you want a full physique V-taper, you want a nice quad sweep. So like where your quads are like nice and wide and your waist comes up nice and slim and your shoulders go out nice and wide with your lats slowly tapering up to your shoulders. So after working out for about 3 years, I feel like I've developed a decent enough V-taper and have gained enough knowledge in order to share my opinions how to build a V-taper. Okay, so what exercises do you need to perform to build this V-taper look? So capped delts are mainly what makes your shoulders look super wide. So basically for cap delts, lateral raises are probably the most dominant exercise for that. And rear delts are what really helps your shoulders look 3D and will also enhance your V-taper. So you want to have strong rear delts and strong lateral heads of your delts. So do rear delt flies, and any type of rowing movement hits the rear delts pretty decently. But rear delt flies will really isolate your rear delt, and to build the lateral head of your deltoid, you should do lateral raises. For lateral raises, you will be standing with a dumbbell or a cable by your side, and you'll raise the dumbbell or cable to an angle where your shoulders and your dumbbells create a straight line. So what do you do for a quad sweep? For the quad sweep, you need to do main exercises to build big legs, obviously squats, leg press, and then to develop more of a sweep, you can do leg extensions with your toes pointed inwards to really emphasize on the outer portion of the quad. A lot of people tell you that you need to hit abs often to create a tighter waist, but abs are just like any other muscle. Whenever you stimulate the muscle, they grow. So what I find is like if I do abs too much, my waist will actually get wider and thicker. And I don't want that. I want to have the smallest waist possible, so I don't hit abs personally for that exact reason. Okay, so the sad truth behind the V-taper is not everybody's going to have proper genetics to obtain a very tapered physique, because most of the time a small waist is a very genetically disposed thing to have. Like if you have an extremely wide waist and you're not like extremely fat, 9 times out of 10 your waist isn't going to be able to shrink down too much more unless you use a waist trainer or something like that. Most of the time your waist is not going to get any smaller than it is at your like a pretty lean point. Get down to like around 12% body fat and your body should start to taper if you have a good amount of muscle. If you have a good amount of muscle and you're around 12% body fat and your body doesn't taper, either train your lats more and your shoulders more, or some people will buy waist trainers, but I think they're a waste of money. Like whenever you wear a waist trainer, it pulls your waist tighter slightly, but then your like hip bones will be sticking out, and then it'll be like your hip bones go up and your waist is small and then your rib cage, and it just does not look aesthetic in my opinion. A good example of this would be Lex Little. Lex Little doesn't, I don't know if he wears waist trainers or not, but he wears a weightlifting belt, and he wears it pretty tight, and I bet he wears it more often than just in the gym, because if you see a picture of him like before he started like wearing a weight belt and powerlifting, his waist, he was like way skinnier, but his waist was wider. And whenever you gain muscle, your waist doesn't just stay super slim always. It grows slightly too, because your muscles on your waist will grow also. But in his case, his waist got super skinny, and you can kind of see more of like hip bones almost. And then it gets super skinny, then you can see like where his lats and his rib cage come out. I will be honest, and it does create an insane V-taper on him. Okay, now obviously I am not 100% positive this is what actually causes Lex Little's waist to be so small, but this is just my theory and what I think. I don't know if it's like the most aesthetic way of doing things. I'd rather just like not use a waist trainer in my opinion. Like there's many ways you can get around having a wider waist in bodybuilding. It's all through the illusion of posing and stuff. So if you have a slightly wider waist, do not give up on bodybuilding. It is still very like reasonable to compete and do well if you are like really good at posing and you get super conditioned and lean. Now I'm going to get into the bullshit behind waist trainers. What waist trainers do is they squeeze your waist tighter, and your waist will get smaller, but your organs and intestines are also inside of your waist. So whenever you wear a waist trainer and your waist gets so small, all those are being squeezed and condensed inside of your waist, which does not seem like the most healthful and best scenario in my opinion. Another exercise that you could do to help practice getting a smaller waist, or like training for a smaller waist, would be a vacuum pose. For a vacuum pose, you want to try to breathe like every single molecule of air inside of you. You want to exhale it out, and then you want to try to suck your stomach in as hard as you can and hold it until you can't. That's what I do pretty much. Here's an example. Someone who is really known in the bodybuilding industry for this vacuum pose and like waist training and having a super slim waist is Chris Bumstead. For a giant mass monster, well, I wouldn't say mass monster, he has like a very classic aesthetic physique. He's not like insanely huge, but at the same time he is pretty huge. So I'll put a picture up of Chris Bumstead and a little clip of his vacuum pose. And this vacuum pose, what it really does is it helps you like keep your waist tighter when you're walking around, because it trains your waist to stay tighter, and your abs won't be as like loose when you're walking around. You'll see some bodybuilders with a kind of a rounded waist. They're not like a distended gut or anything like that, but their waist is slightly rounded, and that is pretty much because they never practice like waist training that often, at least, and they don't really do vacuums. Like the people that you see that compete in like classic physique and can execute a proper vacuum normally have the tightest waists on stage. Alright, so I was just editing today's video and I forgot that I needed to do an outro, so basically I'm just going to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my bio. Actually, it's not a bio, it's a description for my Instagram. And watch all of my videos, and leave likes, and comment on all of them. Yeah.